podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, March 28th, 2021. This is episode 1783. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/techguy. And by Worldwide Technology and Intel. WWT's Advanced Technology Center is a virtual testing and research lab with the best engineers in the industry. WWT's ATC provides customers with unbiased results, so they know they're making the right technology decisions for their organization. To learn more and see what WWT can do for you, go to wwt.com/twit. And by Helm. Helm believes privacy is a right, not a setting. Protect what matters with Helm. Purchase the new Helm V2 and get a coupon for free shipping. Go to thehelm.com/techguy. And the coupon will be applied at checkout. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We got all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still reach me. Just, you have to use Skype or something like that. Should still be toll-free. 8888 Ask Leo. When you hear something on the show and you go, I should write that down. No need, because we have a fabulous scribe, James Ruvo, writing it all down for you, putting up on the website, techguylabs.com, techguylabs.com. And that's free. There's no sign-up. It's wide open. All the information will be there. This is episode 1783 in a continuing quest to solve the woes of the world through technology. 88, well, maybe not. Maybe create more woes. I don't know. Some sort of woe. Whoa. TechGuyLabs.com, 8888 Ask Leo. Episode 1000. That's where I was. 1783. The website's divided into the shows, so you go to that show. That's today's show for Sunday, the 28th day of March, 2021. You go there, and then each show itself is divided into hours, 1, 2, or 3. Each hour is into segments 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can dive down into that. The text is there almost immediately, unless James has a day off, but usually it's almost immediately. And then shortly after the show's over, give our editors a little time to work, push some buttons, churn out some podcasts and so forth, and we'll put those audio and video from those shows up on the website. So previous shows have audio and video up there too. It's kind of, useful. I hope a useful resource for you. No charge to use it, thanks to our fine sponsors. TechGuyLabs.com. Let's see. Let's see what's going on in the world around us. According to a study from Ireland, Irish studies are always I like it too. So very interesting. The Trinity College of Dublin has raised fresh privacy concerns about smartphones, saying Android handsets and iPhones share data with their respective companies, Google and Apple, or I guess Samsung, I don't know, on average every 4.5 minutes. Data about their use being sent back even when idle in a pocket or a handbag. But if you read a little farther, you note in the study, it's got the implication, the headline in the Irish Times, smartphones share our data every 4.5 minutes. The implication being there's not much difference between Android and iPhones, except the study noticed that Google handsets collected a notably larger volume of data than Apple. A megabyte of data being sent from Google Pixels, for instance, every 12 hours, compared with 52 kilobytes sent from an iPhone. It's a lot. That's a different, very different amount of data. This study doesn't say what data was sent back. They say potentially. Data potentially sent back. The insertion of a SIM, hardware serial number, IMEI, Wi-Fi, MAC address, and phone number, all of which, by the way, is sent back and forth to the network for a variety of reasons. Your phone has to identify it to the itself to the network and so forth. Insertion of a SIM, well, that's an announcement that you're joining a new network, all of that stuff. That's just kind of how it works. I would like to know, and this study, I'm going to throw it out because I would like to know, well, for instance, what data is being sent back? What's the 52 kilobytes coming from? That's nothing coming from the iPhone compared to the megabyte coming from the Google phone. And actually, it could be worse if the iPhone's sending your location, constantly to Apple. That could be worse. What is the surprise here? You're sharing the phone, if it's on, is constantly connected to the internet, constantly connected to cell towers, constantly sending back to your cell carrier information. It has to. That's how they work. A spokesman for Google points this out. That's how smartphones work. Modern cars regularly send basic data about vehicle components, their safety status, and service schedules to car manufacturers. Mobile phones do the same. Apple has not yet commented. This is one of those, I think, kind of weak sauce stories that you see all the time these days. Big tech is ruining the world. But then when you dig down a little bit, the headline is scary. Smartphones share our data every 4.5 minutes. But the payoff is not. I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. A little bit more of a concern for those people, businesses mostly running Exchange servers. Microsoft said, remember that 0-day flaw that let bad guys into your email server? Hey, good news, 92% of vulnerable servers have been patched. Okay, but that means 8% have not. And furthermore, Microsoft says, even if you've fixed the problem, doesn't mean somebody's not already in there and continues to have access. So it's kind of, Microsoft's putting a bright, shiny smile on this dark cloud of doom. Yeah, 92% are fixed, 8% are not. And the rest could still be compromised. Could still be compromised. Prince Harry has a new job. You saw him and Meghan. Oprah interviewed them a couple of weeks ago. Remember, it's hard not being a member of the royal family and the firm. Got to take a job, Prince Harry. So he's taking a job. He's Chief Impact Officer. Now, but that job means different things depending on which company it's for. If it were a car company, that would, that'd be something. But it's not. It's Better Up, which is an employee coaching and mental health startup. Chief Impact Officer. I would say the impact has already been felt with this headline in the Wall Street Journal. You got your money's worth, Better Up. I never heard of them until now. You got your money's worth. Prince Harry is expected to have input into initiatives, including product strategy decisions, charitable contributions, and advocate publicly on topics related to mental health. The CEO says it's a meaningful and meaty role. Okay. Once a member of the royal family, forever, just floating around trying to find something, I think. Rumors that Microsoft wants to buy Discord. Selling price. Discord, do you know what Discord is? Ask a kid. Ask a gamer, because they use Discord like crazy to communicate in between gamers during the game. I'm pinned down here. Come on over. Give me some air power. I want some, that kind of thing. There's a monster to my left. Quick, look behind you. Look behind you. That kind of thing. They use Discord for that. They can do voice or text chat. It's actually used for a lot of things. It's a very strong messaging platform. Microsoft in the market to buy it $10 billion. Microsoft's CEO the very smart and talented Satya Nadella says this next decade, it's all going to be about creation, creation, creation. He said it 3 times. Creation, creation, creation. He said technology's been used for consumption, 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 watching, binging Netflix, that kind of thing. But now we're all creators. That's why Microsoft apparently was trying to buy TikTok. They were also apparently trying to buy Pinterest. They didn't get either of them. Now they're trying to buy Discord. Creators, creators, creators. I would say a different term. Data, data, data. Everybody wants to know more about you. Does that feel good? Everybody's trying to figure out what you want. What do you want? They're trying to buy up companies. They're sending data back from their smartphones. They're doing everything they can. Third-party tracking cookies. They're doing everything they can to figure out what you want. That's pretty flattering, isn't it? Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Well, what most people want is to stop being tracked. Oh, we can't do that. No. But, if you go buy some golf clubs, we'll know. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. I think you found a good one. Professor Laura says she's running out of songs, but I don't know. Jim Croce's pretty good. She's not running out of songs in general, but songs in order to introduce our phone angel, Kim Schaffer. We need phone songs. Any good phone songs, let me know. Hi, Kim Schaffer.
Hi. I think I have a whole book on that. I should send it to her.
Really? A phone songs?
Well, no, just a book on songs, and you can look them up by theme.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing like when I was a DJ. That's the kind of thing
that's why I have it.
Yeah. But I wonder, probably DJs don't use that stuff anymore.
No,
I used to subscribe.
No, because DJs don't use that stuff because they don't get to pick their own music.
Well, that's the other reason.
It's all corporate.
I used to subscribe to a service, DJ service, where every week they'd send you jokes. They were terrible jokes. Mm-hmm. Oh, they were awful. And like tidbits, trivia tidbits. That's the main reason I subscribe. So you can say, that's the late, great Jim Croce there. Maybe you didn't know, but Jim was a big fan of the hot dog or something. And then
I thought that was Patty Duke.
Just throw that in. I don't know. Is she really? I didn't know that.
The theme song, "A Hot Dog Makes Her Lose Control."
A hot dog makes her lose control. You will lose your mind.
Stupid trivia.
Who should I start with on this?
I want to go to Karen because when I asked her what her name was, she said, it's Karen. Of course it is. So I don't think she is a Karen because that was pretty funny. Walla Walla, Washington.
It's got to be hard these days to be named Karen.
It's got to be hard to be named Karen.
Or
I apologize to
I'd
her.
hate to be named Alexa these days, right?
Well, my friend just goes by Lexi now.
Yeah. What about the poor kids named Google? That's got to be.
Well, their
be
parents should be punished.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Karen. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi.
Hey, welcome. From Walla Walla.
Yep.
What can I do for you?
I'm on a mission for my boss.
Oh, good.
So,
the boss said, Karen, go home and figure this out.
Well, actually, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
We've been working on this for a long time, and I have done YouTube. I've done all sorts of things to try and rectify this situation, and I can't figure it out.
Okay.
So I told him I would call you.
Good. That's a start. That's a start.
So,
what is the question your boss wants answered?
We store everything in the cloud through Microsoft. And he wants to be able to password protect files and password protect folders, but not by individual. Does that make sense?
So most cloud services, including Microsoft's OneDrive, they're encrypted both in transit up to the cloud and on the servers up there in the cloud. But Microsoft has the key. So they are encrypted. They are protected in that sense. Is that what he's worried about, or is he worried about an employee getting access? Why does he want to password protect them?
Well, so there's 3 of us. It's a really small company. There's 3 of us that have access to all the files. There are some files within that. I do some stuff for him personally, and that he puts out there that he only wants him and myself to see.
You want access permission kind of thing.
I guess.
Yeah. You want SharePoint, which is Microsoft's collaborative work environment that gives you permissions. So right now you're just using sounds like you're using the consumer OneDrive, which basically anybody who has access to the OneDrive has access to all the files. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, OneDrive probably has permissions. I know Google Drive does. For instance, our company uses Google Drive. Everybody has access to Google Drive, but they don't have access to every folder on Google Drive. That can be assigned to different groups. OneDrive for OneDrive for Business will certainly have that capability. So that's the first thing I'd look at, not the consumer OneDrive, but OneDrive for Business. And then if that doesn't give him the granularity that he wants, then look at SharePoint, which is even more. And SharePoint works with OneDrive. It'll sync your files up with from OneDrive and all that stuff, but it'll give you even more granularity. But I think OneDrive for Business is probably going to do what he wants. The idea being Mary Jo in accounting has access to all the payroll information, but you don't want Joe in shipping to have access to that, right? So, right? So Mary Jo has permissions to access that portion of OneDrive. Joe has his own folder that has all the shipping information on OneDrive. The boss can access both. That kind of thing. Yeah, OneDrive OneDrive for Business will do that. Just you need to. In fact, you've probably already seen because they advertise it like crazy. Get OneDrive for Business. They want you to upgrade. So I think that'll do it. Just look for OneDrive for Business, and then what you're looking for is permissions, folder permissions. So, we do that with Google Drive. So there's a marketing folder. The marketing people have access to it. The boss has access to it. But the engineering team has their folder. They only have access to the engineering team, not to the marketing folder, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that will do it for you. If not, then the next step up, which is SharePoint. But I don't think you need to go to SharePoint for that kind of simple thing. You just need to have permissions, per folder permissions, and then whoever logs in, and everybody needs a different login. You can't. So I think what happens a lot of times, and especially in small businesses like yours, people, I sign up for the consumer OneDrive account and I give my password and log into everybody. That's not what you want. You're probably gonna want to get a Microsoft 365 account. Each person will have their own login. Each person will have their own area of OneDrive that's just for them. They'll be shared. You can have team folders, you can have individual folders, and you can have absolute access control. That's the key. It's not so you really don't want to have that one account with one password. Everybody has to have their own account. It's OneDrive for Business, particularly I think as part of Microsoft 365. That's going to solve that whole problem for you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Sam Abuelsamid, car guy, coming up. Our show today brought to you by Mint Mobile. Oh, man. If you're not using Mint Mobile, I just have to ask, why not? Why not? Mint Mobile is kind of amazing. Kind of something special. So let me explain. So that, I could do the ad and just say they're special, get them, but let me explain why they're so special. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They save money because they don't have retail stores. But what's great is they pass it along to you. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless, if there's one thing we've learned, there's always a catch. So when I heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service for $15 a month, I thought, yeah, right. Except I got it. I got it. In fact, I got an iPhone SE from them, put a Mint Mobile SIM in it, and I've been using it, and there's no catch. Because they're the first company to sell wireless service online only, cutting out the retail stores, they save all of that money, and that passes that down to you. No mystery fees, no weird fees, just $15 a month. That's amazing. All plans come with unlimited talk, nationwide talk and text, high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network. It's T-Mobile. So if you get great T-Mobile service where you are, which I do, this is a no-brainer. You can use your own phone. They'll send you the SIM. They don't even charge you for that. Everybody else does. No charge. You can port your number over so you don't lose your number. All your contacts go along with your phone. If you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with a 7-day money-back guarantee. And then there are lots of other plans, including an unlimited plan. But why not start with the $15 a month introductory offer? $15 a month. Get the plan shipped to your door free. All you have to do is go to mintmobile.com/techguy. I liked it so much, I ended up getting the $25 a month plan, which gave me 15 gigabytes a month of data. That's plenty. And still unlimited text and talk. Go to mintmobile.com/techguy. Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month. And they got a great deal on phones too if you want to buy a phone there. mintmobile.com/techguy. Thank you, Mint Mobile, for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us by using that address, mintmobile.com/techguy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Sam Abuelsamid is our car guy, car technology. He's a principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights, where he writes about automotive technology. Has a great podcast called Wheel Bearings at wheelbearings.media, all about cars. Hi, Sam.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
I'm fine. I got up early and watched the Formula One race this morning. That was fun. I've never watched one of those. I mean, I've seen them, in passing.
Yeah.
But I kind of got into it because of this Netflix show, which is really good, called Drive to Survive. It's all about F1. There's 3 seasons, and I really enjoyed it. And so I thought I should be watching the races.
Yeah, it's an interesting show. Each season focuses on a different team and follows them over the course of a season. The first season, I've only watched the first season where they followed McLaren when they were having a rough patch in their history a few years ago. And I haven't watched season 2 or 3
It's a phenomenally expensive sport, I would imagine.
It is.
Yeah.
Although it's getting more affordable. They've made some changes in the rules up until a couple of years ago. For the top teams like Mercedes-Benz and Ferrari, they were regularly spending upwards of $400 million a year on their F1 programs.
Oh, I didn't realize. I know they have staff of 1,000 and more people working on these things. That's kind of incredible. Why do car companies do that? Is it just there's glory in it? If you're the best car on the F1 track, people are going to buy your automotive.
There's a marketing aspect to it. There is some technology transfer between motorsports and production. For some teams like Ferrari,
it's good for Ferrari.
Their whole reputation is built on Formula One.
Sure.
And racing. Ferrari is the only team that has raced in every single Formula One race since it started in 1950.
Wow.
Last year they celebrated their 1,000th race in Formula One.
Wow.
And they're all about performance, and similar for other teams as well.
You don't see Jeep though in the F1 paddock. Jeep isn't buying.
Not very often. No. Jeep is not a brand that's associated with running fast around a racetrack. What they are associated with is crawling over massive boulders and through canyons.
Right.
And particularly the Wrangler.
Is that what's behind you right now? Is a Wrangler?
That's the Wrangler. That's the classic Jeep. This is, I think this year is actually the 80th anniversary of the original Jeep, which was built in World War II. It was designed as a general purpose vehicle, hence the GP, the Jeep. That's where the name came from. And this is the direct descendant of those original Jeeps.
The GP. Yeah. Oh.
Yep. And so today the Wrangler is still I think it's Jeep's second best selling vehicle behind the Grand Cherokee, and they are just about set to start shipping the first Jeeps with a plug. They have the Wrangler 4xe, which is the plug-in hybrid version of the Wrangler. Should be hitting Jeep dealerships in the next week or two.
That's why you have a big solar panel array above that Jeep. It's plugged in.
Yeah, well, because a lot of Jeep owners, or Wrangler owners in particular, buy them to go off-roading. They go off-roading on trails like Moab and Utah and the Rubicon Trail, which is up near Lake Tahoe, not far from where you are. What Jeep is doing is they're partnering with Electrify America to install charging stations at the trailheads, so that when owners get there and before they head out on the trail, they can plug in and top off the battery in their plug-in hybrid. So the Wrangler 4xe is officially rated at I think 21 miles of electric range, and the Rubicon Trail is about 16 miles long. So you top off that battery, you can go through the entire trail in electric only with no emissions while you're out on the trail.
Oh, that's great. That really
nice and quiet.
Nice and quiet. Yeah. But can electric
you're
vehicles...
still trampling everything that's on the trail.
Yeah, right. Can electric vehicles do well off-road? Are they as good as gas vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I know, you like your Mach-E, and a lot of people like electric vehicles, is because of that torque that you get, that instant acceleration,
right?
That you get from the
love
massive
that
torque.
Once you get used to that, a gas car feels like hesitant. It doesn't. Yeah.
And for for an off-road vehicle like the Wrangler, when you're out on the trail, you're running it in 4-wheel drive low range mode, so you're actually not going very fast, but you want a lot of torque, to help pull the vehicle over those rocks and through those, over logs and whatever else might be along the trail. And so torque is really important for these kinds of vehicles. So electrification is great. In fact, the annual Jeep Easter Safari is coming up. This is an annual event that they hold, gathering that they hold in Moab and Utah. And every year Jeep brings out a group of concept vehicles, and some of them are built, to show off some of their Mopar accessories and things like that. But this year, one of their concepts is called the Jeep Wrangler Magneto. It's an all-electric Wrangler, so no engine at all. And this is one that it's not going into production for probably another 3 or 4 years. But what they're doing right now is they're using it to evaluate, how people like electric vehicles for off-roading. But the Wrangler 4xe is available now, or will be in dealers as I said, in the next couple of weeks. And then we also have other 4x4 off-road vehicles coming, like Rivian. Rivian's trucks, are designed for off-road use. The GMC Hummer, is an off-road vehicle. But also, with charging, off-road and charging, Rivian announced this week that they are also going to be building out their own network of charging stations. That they're putting in 600 charging stations between now and the end of 2023 with DC fast charging. And there'll be 3,500 chargers across those charging stations, so about six per location, roughly. But unfortunately, on the good side, Rivian is using the CCS charging connector standard, so it's the same plug as everybody else except Tesla is using. Unfortunately, they've made I think is a bad decision to restrict their fast charging stations only to Rivian owners.
Oh,
I think. Yeah, I think that's, I don't expect Rivian or any other company to give away charging for free because, it's expensive. Electricity is, it's got a cost associated with it.
And it's also regionally more expensive in some areas. So, if you're giving it away in California, it's a lot more expensive than if you're giving it away in Arizona. So,
but I would like to see Rivian, open up the network to allow anybody to use the chargers and pay for it, pay for the electricity.
Yeah.
Because
of course Tesla doesn't do that. I mean, the Tesla superchargers are Tesla only.
Yeah, but Tesla uses a proprietary connector, so nobody else could use it anyway because nobody else has the Tesla connector.
Right.
But Rivian's got a standard connector, and I'd like to see them encourage more adoption of EVs by opening up their network, making chargers more accessible to everyone.
Do they have a pretty big network?
Well, they don't have any right now, but they said by the end, they're going to start building them out this year. The first Rivian vehicles are going to start production this fall.
Does Tesla get a pass because they created their network before anybody else was electrified? So the proprietary plug, they didn't know any better. If Tesla changed to CCS, then everybody would use their superchargers, and I mean,
ideally,
Sounds like they did the same thing basically by making a proprietary plug.
In Europe, Tesla actually does use CCS because they're required to by law. That's the law over there.
That's how it should be. Yeah,
but here they have the proprietary
electric's not going to take off till there's chargers. At least as many chargers as there are gas stations. Maybe more because a car is going to sit on that charger for half an hour. You need a lot of plugs. Sam Abuelsamid, Guidehouse Insights, wheelbearings.media. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Leo.
Soon we'll have the F1 off-road.
Actually,
I did not know Jeep was short for general purpose. I had no idea.
Actually, the Extreme E series is kicking off, I think, the second or third week of April. Mm-hmm. It's similar to Formula E. It's an all-electric series, but it's an off-road racing series.
Oh, that sounds cool. So, my impression, I know other people probably have the same impression, is that, all the hybrids, like the Prius and stuff, were kind of gutless. And so I thought, they wouldn't be really good for this kind of thing, but I guess it's all in the design too.
Yeah, it depends on the size of the motor you use.
Right.
Unfortunately, one thing I didn't get around to mentioning during the segment, and maybe you want to mention it afterwards, is NVIDIA GTC is coming up the week of April 12th.
Okay.
The GPU Technology Conference, and it's virtual this year as it was last year. This year it's absolutely free.
Oh, well, you can do it next week. I mean, you got time. Yeah.
So it's anybody can sign up. There's going to be over 1,000 sessions, including a whole bunch of sessions around automated vehicles and.
Will the keynote be of general interest? Should we stream the keynote with them?
I mean, Jensen's keynotes tend to be rather lengthy. You can, but and there, I am sure there will be some interesting stuff in the keynote. I'm supposed to get briefed on it a few days beforehand, but
8:30 a.m. Pacific, April 12th.
Yeah, his keynotes usually run about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Jeez. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And
but given their importance, in the cryptocurrency as well as graphics, and driving now, they're really in 3 major areas. They're very important, so might be worth covering. But I don't want to do that long. how's his English? Is he pretty intelligible?
Oh, it's great. He's American born.
Okay, good. Okay.
So there's no accent or anything. Okay. He's from Ohio.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think you go. Ohio.
Awesome.
But,
okay.
Also, something else of interest to you is, Tesla started accepting Bitcoin as payments for vehicles.
Yeah.
You should be careful because you could end up with a big tax bill, because when you transfer the Bitcoin to Tesla, the IRS, anytime you use Bitcoin, for a transaction, you could be liable for a capital gains bill.
Right.
Capital gains
depending on what your basis was. If you bought that Bitcoin at $5 and sell it at 50,000,
or 20 or 30, and now it's 50 or 60, you could be liable for a hefty capital gains
on the conversion. It's not the purchase that's getting you; it's the conversion. Yeah. Wow, I didn't think of that. Yeah. That's why I'm not unlocking my Bitcoin wallet. It's staying there. I don't want to pay taxes. I want long-term capital gains. Your signal was fine during the show, but it's going out now. So I don't know what's going on with your bandwidth. But
maybe it's time to reboot the rat rod here.
Yeah, you don't have a way you can do wired in there?
It is all wired.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
Well,
I'm on a wired connection.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't sound like what the wireless dropout would be.
It might be Comcast. That's
could be Comcrap. Yep. All right, my friend. Have a wonderful week. Spring has come to Ypsilanti, I'm sure.
Let's get on the grill, on the smoker.
Nice. I smoked a brisket. It came out so good yesterday. Yeah. Oh, had served the family. It was so good. Thanks, Sam.
Talk to you next week.
See you later. Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Bob on the line from Warren, Pennsylvania. Hello, Bob.
Hey, how you doing?
I am great. How are you?
Let me turn my speaker off here.
Okay, no problem. Just come on over to the phone, pick it up, talk into it.
Yeah, I got a problem with Google Assistant. recently, I'm going to say, downgraded from the Pixel 4 XL to the Pixel 5.
Really? Now, see, I have a 4XL, and I did not buy the 5 because I thought I don't see any reason to. I love my 4XL. Why do you call it a downgrade?
Well, some of the hardware is a little less, but
That's funny.
I wanted a smaller phone anyways. But
Okay.
One of the things I missed also was the 2XL had a fingerprint reader, and I missed that. The Face Unlock was great. It worked great, but this time of pandemic and masks and all.
I agree. The fingerprint readers are fast, they're accurate, they work with masks, but even without a mask, I prefer them, and everybody's abandoned them for Face ID now, and I don't like it.
I like it, but the issue I'm really having with the 4XL, a lot of times I'll travel on a motorcycle with Bluetooth helmet,
Right.
or in the car. I have Bluetooth connected to the car, and I'll get into a spot where the GPS is really accurate. But I'll be in a location where I'm not sure I'm at. I'll ask, hey, assistant, I'll ask where I am. And the 4XL is always pretty accurate. But with this 5, I could be 100 miles away, and it'll give me my home address.
Oh, Lord.
And it's really weird because the 4XL is so accurate. And even on the 5, the GPS is accurate and knows exactly where I'm at. That little blue dot, if I'm sitting still, walking or something, I can point it around, and the field of view moves and is accurate. But I don't understand why and 99% of the time it'll give me my home address. Now, sometimes I'll be one spot and go to another on a day trip, several miles away, and it'll tell me a place I was, maybe half an hour earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's something to do with the cell towers rather than the...
Could be. I mean, it sounds like it's not getting a GPS lock. So your phone has, as you have astutely observed, a couple of ways of getting your location. The less granular kind of way is just which cell tower you're closest to, or you can get a little bit more accurate by triangulating the signals from different cell towers. But it's not going to give you the same level of accuracy, the 3-meter accuracy you get from GPS. I would guess that you're probably exactly right, that you're getting cell tower location because GPS isn't getting a track. So in order for the GPS to work, it has to have, in effect, sight of 3 GPS satellites. If you keep the phone inside something, metal or whatever, it's not going to track at all. Where do you keep your phone while you're riding?
Well, I have a mount.
Okay, so it's out in the...
Well, I'm riding on the motorcycle. It's in my pocket. But I have a mount in the car on the windshield.
And it's doing the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be that the 5's GPS radio isn't as good. GPS, it doesn't work in parking garages for that reason. It needs to be outside. GPS, there is, in some phones have more noticeable GPS lag than others, but this doesn't sound like lag. Lag is, where you're at the left turn and it's half a block behind.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. It's always, as far as I've ever used it, I'll have it up navigating to a destination, and the GPS is always there. And if I put it in driving mode or something, I'm not navigating, but if I just bring up the map all of a sudden, or even if I open Google Maps, if I'm in a hotel or something, it zooms in right where I'm at. It knows exactly where I'm at. It's the assistant that can't get it right.
Yeah. So there's, there is a switch for accuracy. It's in the settings, in the location options, where you go to location services. You can change the mode from device only to battery saving to high accuracy. You might want to make sure that it's on high accuracy.
Yeah,
Google. Yeah, okay. Google does have a support page I'm looking at right now on accuracy. That's one of the things it mentions is turn on high accuracy. Turning on Wi-Fi helps. That's a little weird. I don't know if it would help you on a motorcycle. But when you're walking around Wi-Fi, it also triangulates. That's the third way of figuring out location, triangulating Wi-Fi signals to figure out where you are. They suggest restarting. It says if your blue dot's beam is wide or pointing in the wrong direction, recalibrating the compass. You've probably seen that where you do it in a figure 8 thing, But the compass is not. Compass isn't going to put you at your house when you're actually 50 miles down the road. It sounds like, to be honest, the GPS is just not working properly in the phone, and it could be you have a bum unit. You know, your Pixel 4 never had this problem.
No, never.
Yeah,
and I think even the 2XL when I had that.
Yeah.
Way back
good luck getting a return from Google. They're not notoriously good at that, but you might contact them and say, look, the GPS just does not work on this phone. It sounds like it's the phone, to be honest. I mean, they're going to tell you all these things that you should try, but
other than that issue, I'm real happy with the phone, but it's smaller than a 4XL. It's kind of funny. I went to a smaller phone. My wife was using an 11 Pro, and she went to the 12 Pro Max.
She wanted even bigger. You know, it's funny, Apple, which made a small iPhone this year, the iPhone Mini, and it really underperformed. They actually had to cut back on manufacturing because nobody wanted the little phone. People do seem to want big phones these days.
Yeah.
I will put in the show notes from gadgetfeatures.com, an article they have on fixing Google's Pixel 5 GPS with accuracy calibration problems. Although I have to say, this is something the chat room posted. It does look like there is okay, so this has one additional thing. It mentions the location setting. There are other GPS tools or apps you can install, like GPS Status and Toolbox, GPS Status Tool, that might help you at least understand if the GPS is broken. It will tell you which satellites it'll see. It'll update the almanac. One of the ways that the devices that have GPS work is when they first get to a new location, the GPS is slower. You might have noticed the first time you open it up in that location because it's downloading what they call an almanac, which is specific to the a rough area that you're in. That almanac helps it work faster and better. It may be that refreshing the almanac would help. We'll put this as a interesting article anyway with some other suggestions that we didn't mention that Google doesn't mention. Gadgetfeatures.com, fix Google Pixel 5 GPS issue. There has some other ideas, but my guess, to be honest, is that your radio's screwed up.
Yeah.
They do say sometimes a factory reset helps.
It's not a deal breaker as long as I can see where I'm at. But sometimes I get curious. So what's this down there? What's that down there?
I bought at one point. Somebody called the show and recommended a separate GPS dongle that you Bluetooth pair to your phone for location. That would be another fix if you have a weak or bad GPS radio on your phone. Amazon sells them for nothing, $15, $20. And it's an external thing, and he uses it in his car because the metal of the car really impedes his phone, and so he puts it in the dash or even in the windshield, and it does a better job. So I'll put a link in the show notes to this external GPS dongle that pairs via Bluetooth. It's another way to maybe get a little faster. It's a GPS receiver. They're not expensive. A number of companies sell these for under $30. All right.
Great. Thanks, Leo.
You're welcome. Good to talk to you.
I'm a long-time listener and enjoy your shows. And
appreciate it.
Helping me over the years.
Well, my pleasure. We're all in this together, this malfunctioning technology world of ours. There's quite a few of these. If you'll search Amazon for GPS dongle, I see them as low as $13. And those are with a USB, though. You want one that's Bluetooth, so that you can pair it to your phone. Here's one for $14 with Bluetooth. They're not expensive. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We got all that jazz. Anything with a chip in it, we'll talk about it. Now, if you want to call, participate in the conversation, 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, still can use Skype or something to call. Love to hear from you. We get listeners all over the world thanks to this thing called the internet. Speaking of the internet, there is a website where everything I talk about goes. Thanks to our scribe, James DeRuvo. We're putting links up there for our previous callers. It's at techguylabs.com. No sign up. It's free. Just wander on in. We even put audio and video from the shows there after the fact. TechGuyLabs.com. Angela's next from Nova Scotia. Hi, Angela.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you? How's the weather? Is it still winter time in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, pretty much. We had a big old rainstorm here the other day, and it kind of cleaned out all the snow.
Yeah.
So it's just plain old cold down here.
Yeah. The Maritimes. Yeah.
Yeah, you get about a week's worth of summer.
Ugh. Oh, well.
Or about 2 at the most.
Oh, well. At least you got the nice ocean to look at.
Well, somewhat, I suppose. we live at the harbor. You look at the Halifax Harbor. That's about.
Oh, good. What can I do for you, Angela?
I've got a Mac with Big Sur on it, all up to date.
Good.
And I got an iPhone 10R, and I used to use to get ringtones a simple ringtone from my Mac onto my iPhone. I used to use iToner.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work with Big Sur. It doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Sur. So I was wondering if you had a recommendation that was.
Yeah, you actually don't need a third-party app. GarageBand will do it. So when you make your ringtones, you make them from your own music, that kind of thing?
No. I've downloaded some different apps on my phone. That,
yeah, you don't. So that's honestly, I think, kind of not scam, but there's no reason to pay for ringtones, especially on an iPhone, because you can make them.
No, I don't.
You download them from. I
download them like the apps that I get are a collection of
fun stuff.
Ringtones.
Yeah, be careful because you don't know what else is in those apps. But all a ringtone is just like your iTunes music. It's a AAC encoded file, but it has the extension M4R, which stands for ringtone. You can make a ringtone. iTunes, actually, now it's called Music, but Music will make a ringtone. GarageBand might be the easiest way. So you could still download any sounds from anywhere. So if iToner had a website with the sounds on it, you could download them from there. And then those files, even if they are, even if they're music, let's say you've got Hit Me Baby One More Time on your iTunes, I keep calling it iTunes because music doesn't seem, it's so generic. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but on the music app on your Big Sur, you can actually turn it into a ringtone in the music app. Or you can open it in GarageBand, edit it, get the part, because you can only use about 30 seconds, so you can't use the whole song. So get the 30 seconds you want, and then you can save it out in GarageBand as an M4R, and then you can import it, because GarageBand's also on the iPhone. You can import it when you sync up to the iPhone and do it. It's a very easy way to do it.
Well, it's more than what I want, because like I said, the apps I've downloaded, or not the apps, the apps that are all collections. Like I like to use animal noises. Like, when the phone rings on my iPhone, I use the Meow Mix song.
Meow, 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 meow. So if you could find the Meow Mix song, you could easily turn it into a ringtone. I guess iToner was probably, I'm going to guess, 32-bit, and that's why it won't work anymore. Are there other apps in the App Store that do that kind of? Oh, iToner is from Ambrosia. Gosh, I'm surprised. Ambrosia's good. I would expect them.
It's gone belly up. I checked the website's gone belly up.
Has it really?
Yeah, because I tried to find if they upgraded their stuff, but
AmbrosiaSW.com. Boy, they were a great company. I'd be very sad to hear that they went out of business. They used to make a whole bunch of really nice.
I had a few of their stuff.
Yeah, and music editors and stuff like that. Yeah, their website's not coming up for me, so I guess
it was so simple. It was a drag and drop sort of thing between my Mac and putting it onto iTunes. It was just like drag and drop. It was so dead simple.
Well, I've made a video It's funny because iToner is still on the Apple Mac store, but I guess it won't install. Is that it says?
Yeah, no. When it pops up, it says
Can't do it.
The developer hasn't upgraded.
Yeah, it looks like they haven't upgraded it since 2013. That means it's probably a 32-bit app. It won't work on Big Sur. That's exactly right. But there might be other ringtone apps you could download. You used it to convert sounds?
Yeah, and I kind of bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Between putting them on my because I got what was it? I don't know. I guess you call it a roundabout way. I'd download a package, an app that had a package of
right, and then it would extract them out of it. Yeah.
They would sit on my Mac, and I'd use iToner to pop them into the right place because iToner would automatically pop them into the right column.
I don't know of an easy program like that. I'm sure somebody has one to replace what Ambrosia was making. I did make a video on how to do this without any special software. You can find it at our website, twit.tv/ it was our Hands on Mac show. So twit.tv/HOM19.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I watched all you want. I'll check it out.
Oh, all right. So you knew about it. So it's Hands on Mac episode 19. And I just walked you through how to do it in the music app. I don't know if I mentioned GarageBand in there, but GarageBand will do it too. And maybe somebody knows, somebody listening knows a replacement for iToner that makes it very easy. It wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised if there are not many like that. I've never used them because I use my manual technique. I'm sad to hear that Ambrosia went under. Let's see. Here's one, Ringtones Maker. This is also in the App Store. The Ring app from Sujuan Chen. No computer required. This one is for your iPhone. It's on the iPhone. So I don't know if this will replace.
I don't know that.
Oh, sorry. Apparently, you know who was listening in.
No problem.
Okay. Bye-bye. Turn her off. So yeah, I don't know, but somebody will call and we'll put it in the show notes. But there's one you could try. That's for the iPhone. In fact, I would bet nowadays almost all of the apps to do this are not for the Mac, but for the iPhone. You want it for the Mac?
Like I found it. I found a lot of them on the when I was searching through the App Store on my iPhone, but none of them. They were all makers, not
right. Not editors.
I'll call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all kind of help me make it, and I didn't want to make one. I just wanted to be able to.
You want to take an existing sound, and do it. Well, try GarageBand. GarageBand will do exactly what iToner did. Just it does a whole lot of other things, so it's a little more complicated.
Okay, maybe I didn't.
Yeah. Give them a try.
I thought there was it would only make up one, and I didn't want to make up one. I wanted to. No,
you can take it. If you get a sound, any sound you get, open it in GarageBand, edit it, and save it out as a ringtone, and you're done.
Okay, I didn't. I must have missed that because I tried to investigate the GarageBand, but it didn't. It looked like it was more of a maker than a transporter.
Right. Well, it does both. You could sing into it. You could sing meow, 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 and then you could have your own meow mix. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you, Angela. I hope you have a nice summer in about 2 months.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm sure there are a dozen programs for the iPhone that will do this. You're right. You don't want to make her. And what you don't want to do, I guess, public service announcement here, is pay for ringtones. It's $1.99 for 3 months and stuff. Remember when all the phone companies that made so much money charging people for ringtones? Silly. You can make them. Silly rabbit. Just make your own. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Professor Laura. Musical director. She was saying, are there any Passover songs? And I think the chat room came up with that Red Sea Shanty. It's a vocal group. I think they're out of Israel, named 613. They do a lot of fun little kind of parody songs. That one turns into Gilligan's Island later. The Gilligan's Island theme. Dwayne on the line from Walnut, California. You're our next caller. Hi, Dwayne.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my question is, a friend has a 2010 Android.
Yes.
And he wants to download his information on a PC. He would like to know how to go about that.
2010 Android, huh?
Yes. That's I guess Verizon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So that's an old phone. But in general, an Android phone can be connected up to a computer, and then it can be copied over. It will actually show up on Windows as a drive. It's such an old phone. I'm not convinced it has USB to go or UTG, but if it does, it'll just show up as a drive. If not, there's a program called Android File Transfer.
Oh, okay.
And that will recognize it and mount it. Let's make sure that there is a version for Windows.
Are you taking a look at that now?
Yeah, because I use it on the Mac. Yeah, Android File Transfer, and you can get that. That's free. It'll run on your PC. It plugs in the phone, and then the phone will just pop up. It'll look like it's a hard drive, and you should be able to copy anything off it. Now, the only issue with it is the Android file structure is a little bizarre, so you might have to dig around in there a little bit to find it. But he should be able to see everything.
Great.
Yeah. And the other thing he could do, if it can't get it hooked up to the PC, is, all Android devices will sync to Google Drive. So he can always get the everything off the phone onto a Google Drive and then get it to a PC. But I'm pretty sure you can get it. Yeah, it shouldn't be any trouble getting it off with Windows. I've never had any trouble. I think on modern Windows machines and modern Android phones, it just connects up. Samsung sells or offers, it's free, a program called Keys, Kies, that does it. So if he has a Samsung phone, you can go to Samsung and download Keys, Kies. But if it's not a Samsung phone, as I remember, it's not a big deal. What's going on with the cargo ship? Is it still stuck in the Suez Canal? Yeah. Wow. What a mess. On its way to the Red Sea, it may never make it. Phil on the line from Arvada, Colorado. Hello, Phil.
Good afternoon, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. Nice to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you. What's up?
Well, I just bought a brand new Dell Inspiron 7306 2-in-1 laptop, and I have a Logitech wireless keyboard with a dongle that goes into my USB port. And when I plugged it in and rebooted the computer, my keyboard went absolutely crazy.
Oh.
I can't type with it. I touch one key and it just runs across the screen. I can't do anything with it. I've tried a different keyboard. I've downloaded
the Inspiron keyboard itself works okay though, right? It's just this wireless one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the Inspiron keyboard works great. It's just the Logitech one with the dongle.
Huh. Wonder why not. Now, sometimes with Logitech, well, you don't technically need a driver, but they do offer a driver. Did you install the Logitech driver?
Yes, I did.
Okay. In theory, you don't need one. It should just recognize it as a standard keyboard device. Very puzzling. Very puzzling. So is it typing without you typing anything, or is it that when you type something, the wrong thing comes out?
Well, when I type something, for example, if I'm trying to type the word, let's say good, G-O-O-D,
yeah.
I hit the G on the keyboard, the key, and it just repeats the G all across the screen.
Okay, so it's getting the right key, but it's repeating it. And then when you go to the O, does it do the same thing? It goes O.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The keyboard's...
I can't type in my passwords or anything.
Right. The keyboard's in key repeat. It's probably a physical problem with that keyboard. You might try it on another computer if you have one lying around. But, as you know, if you press and hold a key, it's supposed to repeat. That's a feature of these things. It's not the key repeat delay. You might look in the settings to see if you can turn that delay up. Maybe that's all it is. But it'd be my guess that the keyboard itself has an electrical fault and is sending all those O's. But check in the settings for key repeat and make sure that you put enough key repeat delay on there, so it doesn't go into. You don't want it to go into key repeat right away. You want it to wait a half second or so before it goes into key repeat.
So there's a setting in Windows called key repeat.
Yeah, let me see where it is. It's in the keyboard section of the settings. Let me just. I'm looking at my Windows machine to see if I can find it. Keyboard control panel. Yeah. So if you hit the Windows key and you type keyboard, it's the old school control panel, weirdly enough, that says keyboard properties. Then you'll see there's a slider for repeat delay. And you might try turning that to a longer delay and see if that fixes it.
Okay. Give that a try.
Yeah, you also might check accessibility settings, because sometimes in accessibility there's a sticky keys setting. In fact, it may well be sticky keys got turned on. I would check your accessibility settings. Make sure everything's normal there as well. Chris Marquardt, Photo Guy, coming up next. The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you this week by Worldwide Technology and Intel. WWT's ATC, their Advanced Technology Center, brings together all the knowledge and resources you need to be confident that a solution is right for your organization. If you are a business looking for enterprise technology solutions, look no farther than WWT and the ATC. They have built this thing. We visited a year ago now, in March of last year, in St. Louis, the Advanced Technology Center. More than $500 million in hardware and software from hundreds of technology companies. It was originally created for the WWT engineers to create proofs of concept, to test configurations, to take a look at new hardware and software. It provides real-time tested proofs of concept tailored for every business. But here's the best part. You can now access the ATC anywhere in the world, any time of the day or night. I'll tell you about that in a second. They've set up the ATC as a lab that you can try, just like their engineers do. Try the ATC. WWT uses this is why you want to partner with WWT. They use their deep domain expertise, their unique capabilities, coupled with their ability to deploy solutions at scale to change how business is done, to literally create new realities for their customers. By consistently delivering technology and business outcomes, they've established decade-long relationships with many of their customers. These organizations know WWT will help them achieve their goals. The ATC is just one of many ways they really transform business. But if you go there, you'll find hundreds of on-demand and schedulable labs, and I mean go there online at WWT.com, featuring solutions that include technologies like Intel's Xeon scalable processors, Intel Optane persistent memory, Optane SSDs, and others, representing the latest advances in multi-cloud architecture, security, networking, automation, primary and secondary storage, data analytics and AI, DevOps, everything. They cover the waterfront. Learn about these products before you launch them. That's the key, right? You don't want surprises. That's the worst. WWT's engineers use the ATC and all of these amazing technologies to quickly spin up proofs of concept and pilots using the sandbox to help you as a customer confidently select the solution that's right for you. And that actually speeds everything up. Concept time goes from months to weeks. Speed to market is improved. And as I said, you can also use these labs yourself. They offer Lab as a service, a dedicated lab space within the Advanced Technology Center where you can perform your own programmatic testing using that $500 million ecosystem WWT's already built. Completely virtual. You can use it anytime. You don't have to go to St. Louis. It gives you the unique benefits of the Advanced Technology Center anytime, anywhere. WWT's ATC, it's pretty amazing. There's not just labs, though. There's technical articles, there's insights, there's demonstration videos, white papers, all the tools you need to stay up on the latest technology. That's what I love about it, WWT. They don't keep it to themselves. They share it. And all you have to do is go to wwt.com/twit. Sign up today. You can start using the labs right away. By the way, while you're there, make sure to check out WWT's events and communities. There's lots of opportunities to learn about technology trends. They have events all the time. We've done some of them. It's really fantastic. You'll get the latest research and insights from their experts. All you have to do to learn more about the ATC, to become a member of the growing community, to become WWT user, is go to wwt.com/twit. Let WWT help you reach better decisions in your business faster. WWT.com/twit, bringing strategy and execution together. WWT.com/twit. It's time for our photo guy, Chris Marquardt. He is, of course, my personal photo sensei at sensei.photo. Joins us every week to help us get better photography, get better pictures. Hi, Chris. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
We today are talking about reflections.
Yes, we are. Because again, it's one of these things. If anyone's watching this on video, there are some pictures going to be on the screen. Reflections are a thing that I kind of always look for, and they come with different materials, of course. I mean, water is a prime example. A mirror, glass in general, metal, plastic.
There's all over the
sometimes
place.
Even air.
Yeah.
Air does reflections sometimes. Even brick can make reflections. So it really depends on what kind of reflection are you looking for. Why do we want reflections? Well, they create some duplication in the frame. Sometimes they create real symmetry, and sometimes they just help you mix things up, mix two different layers. They add layers in the picture. So let me just go through a few things here. First of all, if you want to look through water, let's say you're trying to shoot fish in a pond.
Okay.
With a camera, of course.
Okay.
That is going to be a problem because there's a sky above and there's a lot of light that reflects off that water surface.
Right.
Use a polarizer. If you've ever used a polarizer or filter to take the reflections off, that works on water. Doesn't work on metal reflections. Works on water, works on glass. This way you can also look through windows, like if you want to shoot through a shop window, or if you are in a building and you want to shoot outside at night. Let's say you're in a skyscraper, you want to take a night shot of the city under you and there's a light source behind you that reflects in the window. Take a polarizer and cut that out. So
you can, that's to stop reflections.
That's to stop reflections. If you want to add reflections, get lower. Let's say you want to reflect off a surface that is kind of semi-reflective. If you go really close to that surface with your camera, it will be reflecting. If you want a bigger reflection, get closer to that water thing. Let's say you have a puddle of water in front of you. You can make this feel really big just by getting really close to it with a camera. So wedding photographers love that. I know wedding photographers who carry a little basin with them and a bottle of water. They create a puddle to reflect things in front of them.
That's hysterical.
So lots of tricks there. If you look at surfaces, let's say water surface, of course the reflections can be very straight, very, very clear. And that's usually the case when there's no wind. But then as soon as the air moves, you will get these crinkly reflections. And that can add some different element in there.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you can even turn things into real abstraction. If you, let's say, shoot a shop window, that will add several layers. So you have what's in the shop, you have what's outside the shop in the reflection, and you can sort of combine different things in one picture that way. That's a beautiful technique that, you can really play with.
That's fun.
If you're shooting, let's say, a car or something that is very reflective, lots of people like to take pictures of their cars, then the size of the light source is going to be a problem, or is going to be important, because you will see that light source in the car, in the reflections, especially in reflections that are on convex surfaces, because they will kind of include more things. It's almost like a wide angle lens that includes a lot of things of the surroundings. And if you see professional car photographers who shoot cars in the studio, they usually have these huge, big light sources hanging off the ceiling because they want these very soft lights. Very typically in car photography. If you don't have one of those, then an overcast day is going to help you there, because that will create a big light source in the sky. So reflections can be kind of shaped by the light source.
I always assumed you want hard reflections and hard light. So sometimes, though, just you don't want to see what's reflected, just the light kind of sparkling off the surface kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It really depends on what you want. If you want hard light sources, then that is fine. If you look at I don't know if you've ever seen a detailing shop that polishes cars and so on. They usually have hard light sources just to see all those details really well.
Right,
so
right.
It really depends on what you need, what you're looking for.
Right.
But shiny surfaces in general will do a pretty good job in showing you the actual light source. So if you have a bunch of just point light sources, that's probably not going to look that good. So you want something that's a bit bigger there.
One fun thing I've seen people do, especially if it's a good reflection, almost a mirror, so that it looks like the real deal, is turn the upside down so it looks like the reflection is the person.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the person is the reflection, except it's not. And it's at first you look at it and it's something's weird about this photo, and then you realize, I get it.
And it works really well if it is if it's a water surface that is not really disturbed. If it's a really flat reflection, then it's gonna mess with your mind.
Yeah,
really will.
It's kind of fun to play around with that. Here's a nice one from a cityscape on a canal.
Very nice. The symmetry, and this is not just symmetry through the reflection. This is also symmetry in the actual shot. So you get like a double symmetry in that one.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool.
It's really cool. By the way, if you don't want to be in your shot, wear black, because I know a photographer who had a job to shoot in a museum, and he ended up wearing all black and a ski mask, so he would definitely not show up in these shots in any stray reflection coming through several panes of glass. So yeah,
almost anything will reflect if you're at the right angle of incidence.
Yes.
I always
try that with let's say a wooden table or something. Go really low, and you will notice how well it reflects. In fact,
I always like rainy days in cities, because then the water on the sidewalk or the streets can also reflect and really become
everything
beautiful.
Turns shiny when it's wet. Yes,
yeah, I always like that.
It's one of my favorites.
So I think filmmakers, often you'll see a lot of scenes in the rain. They just like that light.
They bring in the fire brigades to water everything down for films. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Everything looks a little better when it's wet.
Yes.
Very nice reflections. We'll put a link to a gallery that Chris has put together from Flickr on our website, techguylabs.com, so you can look at some samples to give you some inspiration, some ideas for what reflections should be. Chris also gives us an assignment every month. It's not a competition. It's not a contest. It's just about getting you out there to take pictures. This month, crisscross is the topic. We want things that cross like an X, right? It's X is the letter of the word.
Absolutely.
So,
and the tag is a bit weird. It's TGX cross.
TGX cross. So here's if you want to participate, we need new pictures. Renee Silverman, our moderator, will not accept old pictures. You got to go out and take some pictures of X's in some form or fashion in your world. If you can find one you like, upload it to Flickr. It's free to join, flickr.com. And then we have a Tech Guy group on Flickr, so you'll join the Tech Guy group. That's where Renee Silverman will welcome you. You can upload a picture, one a week. Are you going to do it next week, maybe review, or the week after? What do you think?
Yeah, probably next week, yeah.
Okay. So you got a chance to get one more picture up there. Again, tag it with TGX cross, so we know it's a submission. And next week, Chris will pick 3 and talk about them. That'll be your reward. Actually, no. Your reward will be getting out there and taking some pictures. Get some coaching, get some information at Chris's site, sensei.photo, or listen to his fabulous podcast, Tips from the Top Floor. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Exes. Can you take pictures of ex-girlfriends? No. Sorry, Kilo.
Well, that would be a pretty...
If their arms and legs if their arms are like this, maybe. Yeah. Get back.
Possibly, yeah.
Get back. Get away. Oh, that's cool. I love reflections. That's a fun challenge. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
Have a great evening.
Absolutely.
Stay safe. I hope you get the vaccine someday soon.
Working towards it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Take care, my friend.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo on film, we call that. 8888 Ask Leo. Scott on the line in San Diego, California, our next caller. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Leo. Good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you.
So I have questions about two-factor authentication, in particular Authy. Are you still a fan?
Yes. Authy, so let me explain what we're talking about so people understand. First of all, number one, very important, among my top 5 security recommendations, wherever possible, instead of just using name and password or email and password to log into a site, especially if it's a site where security is important like your banking, always use what we call two-factor. Not just something you know, that's the password, but something you have or something you are. Biometrics is something you are. Something you have would be an authenticator device. Your phone makes an excellent authenticator device. There are programs for doing this. Google Authenticator is the best known. In fact, it's become so generic that sometimes sites will say use Google Authenticator, but really any authenticator can be used because this is a standard called time-based one-time password, TOTP. And it's time-based because it essentially takes a hash of the current time of day and your secret number, which is stored by the app, and creates a 6-digit code which you enter in, and thereby more than double your security. The question is, Google Authenticator, best known. The one problem with Google Authenticator, although less of a problem these days, was that if you get a new phone, you had to set it all up all over again. Google Authenticator now allows you to save your authentication codes, that secret code, so it's not as big a deal. I recommend Authy for years because Authy had a way of, you could have an Authy account and save it on their servers, and then when you got a new phone, use it. There is potentially a security flaw with that because, of course, Authy then has access to those secret codes. But Authy is made by Twilio, very well-known company, good, I think a very, very good corporate citizen, and I trust their security. In fact, I know the guy who wrote Authy, and I trust it. Is there some reason you're concerned about that? Do you want to use something else?
No, I heard Steve Gibson mention it in passing about how flexible it was. So that's kind of what I want to use. But
so you understand the way it works. Let's say, I wish banks, one of the reasons Steve brought it up is because we now know that text messaging is even more insecure than we thought. So sometimes that second factor, a bank particularly will do this because it's easier to support, will send you a text message. I'm sure you've experienced this over your phone.
Right.
It's better than nothing. It's still, a two-factor. You would have to have a bad guy going after you specifically, but if somebody bad knew your phone number, it's relatively easy for them to spoof it and get that text message. That's that 6-digit code. So text messaging is deemed not as secure as having an app to do it, which is deemed quite secure. The problem with the app is you've got to somehow, when you go to the site, it's got to send you this secret code. Usually it does it in a QR code, so you don't have to write down a 30-digit number, but it sends it via a QR code, and then the Authenticator app records that and remembers it. And the problem is when I move to a new phone, I've got to redo it on every site because I don't have a record of those 6-digit codes. You could, and it would be prudent, I think this is what Steve used to do, snap a screenshot of that QR code every time and save it somewhere, and then you could reuse it when you set up a new phone. That's why I like Authy. You just log into Authy, they save that 30-digit code. You don't have to worry about it, and I trust them.
So that is what I remember. So about a year ago, it's been that long, so I can't really remember the details. For my work, I had to set up second factor setup, and so for a government site, I did it for that one site.
Uh-huh.
And my situation, I use my work computer occasionally for personal things,
right,
and then I go home and use my personal computer for work things.
Yeah.
Well, what I understood from Authy was I couldn't have two Authy accounts on the same phone, so that I could keep my work and my personal stuff separate.
Right. That may be the case. That would be a limitation that Authy introduced. It's not, it's not a showstopper because you could then use Google Authenticator for work and Authy for home or vice versa. And now that Google Authenticator, the one key feature that made Authy more useful was you wouldn't have to go through this setup on a new device. Right. Well, Google Authenticator now does that.
Okay. So I can do that. I'm not a huge Google fan.
Well, there are plenty. There's Microsoft Authenticator. If you look for TOTP authenticators, this is a standard. So nobody owns it. And Microsoft makes one. Lots of companies make them. There are plenty of these, even third-party ones. The only issue is I don't know if the Microsoft one remembers the codes or not. That's the problem. So then what you'll have to do is screenshot the QR code when you sign up for two-factor authentication each time.
Well, how about LastPass has one?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Use LastPasses. Yeah. And that's tied to your LastPass account.
Okay.
The only reason I never used LastPass's Authenticator is I thought, well, that now is a single point of failure because they also store my passwords. So if somebody got my LastPass account, they'd get both factors. So for kind of, excess of caution, I decided to not use LastPass Authenticator. But for a case like this where it's for work, maybe use LastPass Authenticator for work, it's fine.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. So then maybe what I'll do is use Google for work since I'm not a Google fan, but we use Google stuff at work. So
you're stuck with it.
Google at work, and then
That's a good way to remember it. I don't like Google. This must be the work one. Perfect.
All right, that's perfect. Yes, thank you.
Sure, Scott. I thank you. And this is why, by the way, banks still use this now known to be insecure method of authentication because it's complicated. And normal people, in other words, nobody who listens to this show, normal people find two-factor complicated enough. And what they don't want to do is have a phone and an app and keep track and blah, blah, blah. So the text messages is very straightforward. And it works with cell phones, but it also works with landlines because they'll call you and give you the 602-149 over the phone. All of that makes it easier for normies. And that's a bank's chief concern. It's expensive for them to support people with complicated technical issues. They don't want to have somebody, tech support calls are expensive. They don't want to have to support you. Oh, my Authenticator, I changed phones and now it doesn't remember anything. What do I do now? They don't want that long call. So they just use text messages. They, of course, know that they're less secure, but the real point is they are much more secure than just a password. Even if it's a text message, an SMS message, it's still much more secure than password alone. And unless you're being targeted, nobody, in order for me to crack this text message authentication, I need to know your phone number. I have to be going after you. But if you don't, so in other words, if you're going to do that, don't annoy any hackers because it's a fairly easy thing, a well-known thing in the hacking community of how you can do that. I probably shouldn't explain it on here but there's articles, there's all sorts of information. It's fairly easy to do. In fact, there's a glaring loophole that makes it easy for even a non-skilled hacker to do. That's why, if somebody's but this is always the problem. If you're the target, it's very hard to stay secure if you're a target. We all do best by being just part of the mass. As soon as you stick your head up, watch out. Trouble is brewing. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk tech. Computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We talk about smartphones and smartwatches and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number if you want to call in and talk to me. If you got a suggestion, a question, 8888, Ask Leo. That's toll free in the U.S. and Canada. Outside that area, Skype will work. Just call 888-827-5536. Website, free to use, no sign up, techguylabs.com. Everything you hear on the show is reflected on that website. So you don't have to write anything down. Julian's next on the line from Los Angeles. Hello, Julian.
Hey, good afternoon, Leo.
Good to talk to you again. What's up?
Not much. By the way, quick suggestion for songs for Kim. Telephone Call by Kraftwerk, I think, is an excellent choice.
Telephone Call from Kraftwerk. Okay. Professor, write it down.
A lot of phone sounds in it. It's really neat. But anyway, aside from mobile device accessibility that I am very passionate about and talk about quite regularly, one of my other passions is ham radio. And
I didn't know you were ham.
Yes, I am.
Nice.
So, as a blind person, this could be a little challenging, and I have found some great resources, including information on a radio that, with just a little bit of modification, can be made to be fully accessible to a blind person. And the best part is you could buy a radio that's less than $100, a handheld radio.
Yeah.
And by uploading this open GD77 firmware into it and some voice packs, you now have a totally blind-friendly amateur radio that is not very hard on the wallet.
That would be the most challenging thing, is knowing where you're tuning to, what band you're tuning to. And I gather it announces it. It says, you're on the 24-meter band, 24.1, 24.2, 24.3, that kind of thing?
It gives you access to the whole menu system of the radio.
Oh, wow, everything.
Capable of one of the digital modes that's now popular on ham radio called DMR. And you can have access to all the talk groups, all the contact lists, all the settings in the radio. It's a wonderful device. So the way you find out about it is you go to www.blindhams.com. There's a link there that says Ham Radio Links. You click on that. And then you go to OpenGD77 Project for Blind Hams. And there you can find all the information on how to get this radio, how to upload this firmware to the radio. It's very easy to do. And for those who can't do it, getting involved with the Blind Hams Network is a wonderful way to meet other blind hams who are doing this sort of thing.
Oh, neat.
So, and even for people who are not hams yet, who may be blind and maybe think, oh, well, how could I do this if I can't see? You can actually go to that website. You can find links to listen to our network live, and there's even a Madam A skill that if you tell her to enable the Blind Ham Network skill, she'll enable it, and now you can tell her, monitor Blind Hams Network, and you can listen in on our conversations. And we got all kinds of conversations going on there, from tech to regular life, and we help each other out. It's just a wonderful thing to be involved in, and I wanted to share it with the listeners.
Always great to hear from you, Julian. Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Herb, you're next. Rancho Santa Fe. Hello, Herb.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome.
You will probably only get asked that 100 times a day.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind. I'm doing fine. It's such a, I think early on, I don't have to ask Kim, but I think we try to discourage people from doing that. And you know what? It's just what comes out when you say hi to somebody. Oh, I don't mind. I'll say, how you doing? How you doing back? What's up?
There you go. I have two Apple computers, an iMac and a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a mail program, the Apple Mail, on both of them.
Right.
And I have two email accounts. Both accounts go to both computers. One of the email accounts just stopped working last month, and it took, 6 to 8 hours on the phone to solve the problem between Apple and then AT&T, my provider, and they're part of Yahoo now, and they each one refer me to the other.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, I don't have any responsibility. It must be their fault.
Exactly right. But my point is there a better email account that you like?
Account or program?
A program.
Program.
Yeah.
So you're going to keep your existing AOL mail. I think that's part of the problem.
Well, it's att.net. Is that the same as? That's not the same as AOL.
Oh, I don't know what it's so hard to keep track. I don't know what AOL or AT&T uses for their back end. Maybe Yahoo. I don't know what they use. Email. Did you just out of curiosity, how did they resolve the problem? Was it
probably after 10 times with each of the three, Apple, ATT, and Yahoo, changing passwords.
Oh, okay. So it was a password or login issue of some kind.
To be honest, I don't know because we tried so many times and got lost.
What part of the problem, and it may have been part of this, is AT&T uses Yahoo. I think it's Verizon, bought AOL. Yeah. Part of the problem is these older systems like AOL and Yahoo maybe aren't as modern as maybe Gmail, and so maybe don't work as well with Apple Mail. There are a million different mail apps you can use on a Mac. It kind of depends what features you're looking for. I don't use Apple Mail, although Apple Mail is very capable. I mean, it's for most people, it's probably the right choice. It's what you've been using. What is it that you don't like?
Well, right now, the top of the list is that maybe I just haven't done deep enough, but the junk mail.
That's not Apple Mail's fault. That's just part of the ecosystem. In fact, really, it's on your server. It would be on AT&T to filter out that spam. Gmail does a better job probably than almost anybody with that. Apple does support a program called Spam Sieve, which you might want to purchase a copy of. Not Spam Sieve. Oh gosh, what is the Apple Mail spam? Now I'm drawing a blank. I haven't used it in years, but it was the anti-spam solution. But it's a third-party program that you'd have to buy and install. And in my opinion, it doesn't do a great job. Apple's own filtering isn't great. I don't know of a program that would do a better job than that. There are lots of choices, but really, it's in my opinion, it's up to your email provider to do that. Okay. Your client isn't going to do as good a job, in my opinion, as the email provider. You want to stop it before it gets into your inbox. Once it's in your inbox, then Apple Mail can process it, but you don't even want to get it in your inbox, right?
Yeah, well, they always, I think it's probably required that you can unsubscribe.
Yeah, but you know what? If it's spam, not just a newsletter that you accidentally subscribed to, unsubscribe isn't going to do anything because spammers are lawless sons of guns. So if you're getting mail that you can unsubscribe from, in other words, it's somebody who actually is responsible and lawful, yeah, unsubscribe. But most of the time, all that does is send the spammer a note that, oh, I got a live one here. Double down. Yeah, it is called Spam Sieve. That's the third-party program. It is a pretty good Mac program. It's from c-command.com. I used it for years. It does a better job of getting rid of spam. But as I said, that's spam that's already in your inbox. You've already spent time downloading it. My strong preference is to get rid of the spam before it even hits your inbox. But if you want to add some capability without getting rid of Apple Mail, you're comfortable with mail, you know how it works, you know the interface, then take a look at Spam Sieve. It's from c-command.com, and it's $30. You can get a family site license or family license for $48 to 2 machines. It sounds like you have 2 machines, so you might have to do that.
Yeah.
But I'd give that a try. Spam Sieve is trainable. So one of the things you do with Spam Sieve is when you get mail that's spam, you say, oh, Spam Sieve, you missed this, you missed one. And it will learn from that. And so it does get better over time. If you already have a big folder of spam, stuff that you know is no good, you can run it through Spam Sieve and give it a jump start. I used it for a long time. I stopped using it because I finally found a mail provider that does a good job of getting the spam out of there before it even comes to me. And that's really my strong preference. Google does a very good job. You might look at, setting up a Gmail account. They're free. And you'll notice it does a very good job of getting rid of spam. But if you're looking for another Mac email program, man, there's Sparrow, I use MailMate. I mentioned I don't use Apple's Mail, but that's because I'm an old school guy, and MailMate has some really old school features that I like. Gosh, there's a dozen really good email packages, but they look very different from Apple Mail. If you're used to Apple Mail, I would just look at adding spam, see if that'll help. Oh, I want to tell you, we were talking about email. This is a perfect time to mention The Helm, thehelm.com. So one of the reasons I stopped using Google is I didn't like it that Google was looking at my email. They say, well, we don't use it to sell you ads. We don't use it to determine what your ad interests are, but they still look at my email. I'm not sure I like that idea. Maybe you'd like to run your own email server. Well, if you've ever tried, as I have, it is a complicated thing to do. For the most part, you're not going to be able to send mail. Your internet service provider will block it. They're worried about spammers. Anybody, if you are able to send it out, anybody getting it is going to say, well, this IP address does not look like a regular email provider, and they may block it. But there is a way to run your own server effectively, easily, and it's called Helm. You may remember I talked about the original Helm server, ran it. I still have it here running. Well, they've really improved it. The new Helm version 2 is even better. And it's more now than just an email server. It really is a personal server for all your data. Keep your data close, right? The new V2 pricing starts 60% lower than the original version. It's only $199 to start. You get twice the value because you get double the storage, double the memory. You also have, it's more compact. I like the original Helm because it was like a pyramid, but really this is or a triangle. This is much more practical. It's rackable. It's passively cooled, so it's not noisy. Put it in the closet, hook it up. It comes in 512 and 1 terabyte capacities as well. All models will support external storage, so you can add to the storage. So this is what's cool about the Helm. It is, first of all, completely secure, completely safe. You store your data on your Helm server. You also get full disk encryption. The keys are managed by a secure enclave, so it's got secure boot, so it's not hackable. You get TLS encryption, so your everything is HTTPS. They use certificates from Let's Encrypt. When you want to set up Helm, you do it with your phone. You put the Helm app on your phone, and it uses proximity-based two-factor. You cannot log in remotely and create an account. You have to be standing next to it. Now, once you've created the account, of course, the Helm works anywhere. And it offers encrypted offsites backups that are only accessible to you with a unique private security key. Here's my key. You make a backup on a USB key. So Helm will back it up. They can't read it, though. It's encrypted, and only you have access to the key. You not only get truly private email, you can get safe calendar and contacts, secure files and photos. The Helm uses Nextcloud, so you have a Nextcloud server in your house as well. It's safe, it's secure. You get the Helm, $199 to start. Annual service is $99, gives you protection, ongoing, constant security updates, storage of offsite encrypted backups, and new services. They're adding some cool new services soon, plus accessibility anywhere in the world, domain registration and management. If you get the server, though, don't forget, you got to pay $100 a year to use it, but I think that's a really great way, a very affordable way to have a completely private email server. You put it on your home network, you gain uncompromised personal data privacy and security. Not surprisingly, Helm was named as one of Time's best inventions of 2019. That's when I started using it. Maybe it's the time for you. Helm believes privacy is a right, not a setting. Protect what matters with Helm. Purchase the Helm version 2. You'll get a coupon for free shipping. Go to thehelm, THEHELM.com/techguy, and the coupon will be applied at checkout. Free shipping for addresses in the U.S. only. And if you already have a Helm, well, check out their new referral program. You'll give $25 to a friend and get $25 off your subscription renewal. Just go to thehelm.com/techguy to find out more. The Helm, we love it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're talking about tech. It's funny, spam was such a problem. Such a problem. 90% of all email, maybe more like 99%, but I think the actual stat was around 90% of all email 10 years ago was spam, was junk mail, undesired junk mail. The makers of Hormel would prefer we call it UCE, unsolicited commercial email, but nobody calls it that. It's spam, right? Junk mail. Junk mail. That was 10 years ago. So how much of email is spam nowadays? It's still 90%. Spam has not gone away. But what's changed over the last 10 years is how good we are at filtering spam, getting rid of it. And honestly, the reason Gmail does such a good job. So let me describe the different ways that you can filter spam. A program like Spam Sieve, which was state-of-the-art technology when it first came out, roughly 10 years ago, used statistical methods, they called it Bayesian statistics, to learn what email was spam and what wasn't. You know, you can look at an email almost instantly and say, that's spam. You know, especially because you know what email from your mom looks like and email from your work looks like. And you also know what email trying to get you to buy a drug looks like. And it's not the same. You can tell right away, can't you? Of course you can. It's harder for computers. And there's certain problems with spam filtering that you really want to avoid, particularly the false negative, where the computer decides that mail from your mom is spam, and then you don't ever get it, and mom gets mad at you, and it's bad news, or worse, your boss. And so email anti-spam filters have to work extra hard to kind of figure out. One that works on your computer really only has signals, information about spam from you. You train it. You say, that was spam, that wasn't. That's spam, that wasn't. And it starts to learn. But it never was as good as it could be, and there were always false positives and false negatives. Emails that it decided, oh, that's spam when it wasn't, and emails that were spam getting through. And it was inevitable. It always happened. The reason Google does a better job than the anti-spam filter on your computer is because Google works across the entire universe of Google email users. And I think there are almost 1 billion of them. There are hundreds of millions of them. Google learns that something's spam because those users say, that's spam, that's spam, that's spam. It's what we call a collaborative spam filter. It still uses the Bayesian statistical models and things like that, but those never were as good as just simply the signal from a user, that's spam. Humans are much better at detecting spam than any computer will ever be. So because Google, I don't know if you know this, but when you're using Gmail, there's a button right at the top there that says, that's spam. I do hope you use that from time to time because it really helps. Partly because spammers, change their methods all the time, and they're always trying different ways to get through. And if you have 100 million, 200 million users who are looking at mail and saying, that's spam, that's not, you're always on top of what the latest trick is, right? You always kind of know, oh yeah, there's a new game in town that spammers are using because you get that signal. It's a collaborative filter. It's always going to work better. So really the best way to get rid of spam is to have a provider. It doesn't have to be Google. Google happens to do a very good job. Yahoo, not so good. AOL, not so good. They could learn a little bit. Google's spent a lot of money. They've acquired companies. They've worked very hard to become a good spam fighter. And by the way, I notice more spam gets through than it used to because spammers, they're nasty. They're like cockroaches. They figure out if there's a way, they will get through. Google does, I think, the best job out there. And it's because everybody who has a Google account is using it. And it gets better because of that. And if you say this isn't spam, that's also important. That's an important signal. If you look, and periodically you should look through the junk mail folder and make sure that, nothing from mom or the boss got junk mailed. And even with all of that, I still, and I'm sure you do too, I still in my Google box and other boxes get spam, and I still lose things. In fact, almost always I check my junk mail almost every day because often there's stuff in there that I want. So it's still far from perfect. Let's see. Let me see how many. Yeah, Google has more than 1 billion active users, 1.5 billion active users. Wow. That's why it's so good. There's only one user on your local computer, you. Maybe there's two. Maybe you let your kids use it. But basically, there's one person saying this is spam, this isn't. Compare how, 1.5 billion users are going to do a lot better job than one. That's the reason I generally say, if you're getting a lot of spam, find another email provider that does a better job with spam. And as I said, Google is the best. I no longer use Gmail, actually, because, for a variety of reasons. I use an Australian company called Fastmail. They do a pretty good job, too. And one of the reasons I like Fastmail is I can set up rules. For instance, I say no mail from China, period. Or actually, I don't say no mail from China. I say no mail in Chinese. I can't read it, so I don't want it. You can do additional rules that are customized to your uses. I have, there are a few people who send me email that automatically just go right straight to the incinerator. Not the people, just the mail. So, you can set up your own additional rules, but I find Fastmail does a very good job too. Spam is still about 90% of all email. It hasn't changed. We just see less of it because we've got better at fighting it. 8888 Ask Leo. We'll get back to the phones. More of your calls coming up right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Normally, Rod Pyle, our spaceman, would join us at this time to talk about space, but I have some good news. Rod's not feeling well. Why is that good news? Because he's not feeling well? Because he got his shot. Yay! He's Fauci ouchie. So it did knock him down a little bit. And so he's going to take the day off. Rod, feel better soon, but I'm sure, that's one of those things where if you feel a little under the weather from your COVID vaccine, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Just take a nap, relax, rest, and know that it's all good, man. It's all good. Jessica on the line from Orange City, Florida. Thanks for hanging on, Jessica. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yes, I have a question about the hotspot that's on our cell phones.
Okay.
I want to know, if you use it, do you get charged for it by your cell phone company?
Yeah, sort of. Yes. The answer is yes. Ish. So here's the deal. In order to use the hotspot, depends on your phone company. Some phone companies will charge you an additional fee, $10 a month, to make that hotspot active. I think nowadays almost all of them included in the overall cost. But it also counts against your data. And so it could end up costing you, depending on what you're paying for data, whether you've got an unlimited bundle or maybe you're paying for 5 gigabytes and then after 5 gigabytes it slows down. It will charge against your data. So really the answer is it depends on the company and the deal you've made with the company.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's worth paying attention to because it's pretty easy to use your hotspot, especially if you're using it with a computer and use a lot of data up really quickly. And then all of a sudden you get to halfway through the month and your phone company's saying, oh, we're going to slow you down now for the rest of the month. That's no good. I don't know. Does anybody offer unlimited data anymore? They call it unlimited data. They got a little trouble, most of these companies, from the FTC for saying, oh, it's unlimited data. When in fact, after some amount, 10 gigabytes, 15 gigabytes, whatever, they'll really slow you down, often to the point of unusability. And technically, yeah, that's still unlimited. We're not limiting your data. We're just slowing you down. And so you don't want to use it anymore. That's bad news when you get to that point. We all had a family account when Michael, our 18-year-old, was about 14 or 15, and he was just watching YouTube videos nonstop on his phone. And we'd get to about the 15th day of the month, and Verizon would say, hey, you're out of data. We'd say, what? What happened? That's another reason not to get a pooled family plan. Get the kid his own data. Stan on the line from Whittier, California. Hi, Stan. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. I got a question about personal finance software.
Okay.
I've used Quicken for years, and I know you used to use it too.
I did. I stopped, but go ahead.
My biggest complaint with Quicken is having to manually enter the data.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah. This is why I stopped. Exactly why I stopped. So you can download, or used to be, I guess. I haven't used it in a while, and I'm pretty sure you can download the data from your bank and import it. It really depends why you have Quicken. I mean, honestly, in the early days, I was of the mistaken notion that I was checking up on the bank, make sure that they did everything properly, which meant I had to manually enter everything.
Yep.
Compare my register, my check register with theirs. That got tiresome. So then I started downloading it from the bank, at which point I thought, well, I'm just trusting their data because I'm not cross-referencing or checking it. Right. Sometimes now programs will do it automatically, making it even easier. Frankly, the main reason I stopped using Quicken is I don't want to do any data entry. So Intuit bought a company called Mint. I don't know if you've ever seen Mint.
I have heard of it.
Yeah, mint.com. It's basically no data entry. But in order for that to work, you have to give them permission to access all your accounts. My first reaction when this came out was, well, I'm not giving them my login to my bank account. But as it turned out, if I did some research, they use the same back end for that data that the banks use. In effect, the company that holds that data already has it. So there's no harm to that. And in fact, over the years now, and Mint's been around a long time, it's obviously very trusted. And what it does is the budgeting, the allocation, all of that. You can interact with it to say, no, that doesn't go to a dentist, that's a doctor, that kind of thing. But pretty much it does it what you're doing in Quicken automatically and for free.
Right. I've seen another program advertised recently. In fact, it's by Quicken called Simplify.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
About that?
No, I haven't seen that. Is that the same idea, I wonder, as...
I kind of think it does, although the one thing that makes me a little leery about it is it mentions in-app purchases.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the Mint, it's the same thing. They got to figure out that it's free, right? So they got to figure out how to make money. So what Mint does, and I think this is, and by the way, there are many other programs like Mint. Personal Capital does this. Wealthfront has a program like this. There are a lot of, I use Personal Capital and not Mint anymore. And the way that almost all of them make money is through referrals. So Mint will say, oh, I see your credit card fees are 18%. You know, you get 16% if you got this credit card, and they make money that way. So there's, in effect, ads. Let me look here. Simplify from Intuit. Yeah, actually, Wirecutter likes it a lot. So you're saying, but you do pay for this, which in a way I would almost prefer, because then I'm less likely to see a lot of ads. It's $3 a month if you buy a whole year, $4 if you go month to month. This looks pretty good, and it's owned by Intuit, so...
Yeah, because, I mean, actually, I'm paying for Quicken now. They have a yearly subscription model.
Right. They, Intuit very quickly figured out that selling you a $35 package once every 20 years really wasn't going to be a very profitable enterprise. So they moved basically to the yearly upgrade model. The Simplify looks good. I don't know anything about it. I do see on their front page that Wirecutter has recommended it. The Wirecutter.com is a New York Times kind of Consumer Reports style website, and I do trust their recommendations. You might want to read not only their review, but see what else the Wirecutter looked at and whether there's something even better than Simplify. This looks good. I'm not familiar with it. I wonder, I guess they decided the free Mint wasn't going to make it. It looks like it does everything. Have you played with it?
No, I haven't yet. I just saw it this week, and I'm like, I got to ask Leo about that. I know you mentioned that you had switched to Mint.
Yeah, I don't want to enter that data. I really don't. It looks like it's a paid Mint, to be honest with you,
right?
Because it still looks like they make suggestions for ways to save money, and as long as you understand those suggestions are really products they're trying to sell you, new credit cards, new loans, and stuff, and that, right. But. I always found it fairly easy to, I might sign up for this just to take a look at it. I think this looks pretty good. And if you sign up, let me know. Call back after you use it for a little while.
Okay. I will.
Yeah. This looks pretty good. Quicken is Quicken now. It's no longer Intuit. So this is Simplify from Quicken. Okay, I get it. Quicken that's the confusion. I always think of Quicken as Intuit's Quicken, but it's sold off Quicken. It's a company all by itself. Intuit owns Mint. This is Quicken's version of Mint, it looks like, and probably wisely they're charging us. It's $36 a year. It's not terrible.
No, not really, because like I said, you're still the Quicken has the subscription fee, but yeah, I won't have to enter all the data anymore because trust me, I can find better things to do at that time.
Yeah. And it's not like the bank ever made a mistake. After years of checking up on the bank, I realized, they're using computers too. Who knew?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this looks good. Actually, it doesn't use Quicken's data. They have a web version, which is good. It's a mobile app as well. This looks pretty cool. I think it's worth reading the review on the Wirecutter, though, because I haven't used it yet. But it looks good. SimplifyMoney.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day today. Thanks also, of course, to Professor Laura, our musical director, working very hard to find theme songs for our phone angel, Kim Schaffer, who answers all the phones. Mostly, though, thank you for being here, for letting me do this show, for calling in, for listening in. And I hope you come back again next week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls before we wrap things up. Let's go to Fort Wayne. Ed is on the line. Hi, Ed.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I am great. How are you?
Great. I want to know about the YubiKey. I want to know if I can use it on my Linux computer and on my laptop, but not on my iPhone.
Yes, and you can even use it on the iPhone. So let me tell you what the YubiKey is. In fact, I use one. I have one right here on my keychain. So we were talking earlier, I don't know if you heard the conversation about Authy and Google Authenticator and the idea of two-factor authentication. The idea is if somebody were to get your password, they could get into all of your accounts, including maybe even your bank account, or worse, your email. That's the one you really want to keep secure. So we always encourage using two-factor. That means you log in with your email or your login name, your password, and then an additional piece of information based on something you are, like your fingerprint or your Face ID, or something you know, well, actually the password is something you know, or something you have, which would be perhaps an authenticator on your phone. But even more secure than an authenticator on your phone is these YubiKey. And actually, there are a number of companies that make these. These are authentication keys. They typically you'll plug them in. They have a USB port. You plug it into your computer, and it'll send a string of characters as your authenticator. But unless somebody has physical access to this hardware, they can't get into that account. It's really the most secure way of keeping an account safe. In fact, Google has a special advanced security feature that requires the use of these keys, and they offer that to movie stars and politicians, people who are commonly attacked. So YubiKey makes a variety of different keys, including one that'll work with an iPhone. They have one with a Lightning port. Now that iPhone supports NFC for authentication, they also have a YubiKey that has both a USB port and an NFC chip in it. So you just tap it to the back of the phone to get that special code passed along. I think they're really great. I feel like because I'm on the radio talking about technology that I am perhaps a target. So I want to be extra secure. So I do use a hardware key. That means no one can use any of my accounts, at least any of the accounts that offer two-factor, without, actually getting my keychain and getting this key. So I strongly recommend them. I think they're great. And there's a disadvantage. They're expensive. Another $30 or $40, sometimes more. You have to have it with you. You don't want to lose it. In fact, it's important to understand you probably shouldn't just buy one. You want to buy at least two and register them both with any site that you use it with. That way, you have one on your keychain always with you, but you can leave one in a safe at home in case you lose the first one. Does that answer your questions?
Sort of, but I don't know if, I trust.
Oh, you asked if you can use it on Linux? Most Linux is yes. Some Linux is...
I don't want to really use it on my iPhone because I trust my iPhone.
Well, it's not whether you trust your iPhone. It's whether you... Well, it's not about the iPhone. It's two-factor for your bank, for instance, or logging into Amazon. I always use two-factor for my Amazon account. I don't want anybody charging anything on my Amazon account. So it's, yeah, you trust your phone, but...
How do I use it with my phone?
Well, as I said, there are YubiKeys that have lightning ports on them, so you could plug it into the iPhone that way, or NFC, which is that chip that it can read by just tapping the back of the phone.
But you got Face ID with that. You got a Face ID with your phone, and you got that code. So, but you would.
But
use
if you're logging in on your phone to something you've set up with a YubiKey, you need a YubiKey too.
Oh, okay.
See, once you use it with an account, let's say Joe's Fishing Supplies is very smart. They don't want anybody to steal your rod and reel. So they use two-factor. So you set up an account with Joe's Fishing Supplies. You do it on your computer. And you say, and I want to use my YubiKey too. So password plus YubiKey. And they say, okay, plug your YubiKey in. They register it. Now, in order to get into Joe's Fishing Supplies on your iPhone, you can't just say, I'm using my secure iPhone. They're going to say, yeah, but what's your YubiKey? You need to be able to use it on your iPhone too.
So you got to use it across all platforms?
You have to use it on all platforms. Now, Linux, you're right. There are some versions of Linux that don't automatically understand the YubiKey, but there is a little bit of code you can put. I do this on many Linux setups. You can add to it that will give it YubiKey support. And then, by the way, you can use YubiKey to log in as super user or as administrator. You can use it to log in via SSH. You can use it for all kinds of authentication. And because it's a hardware token, I think it's more secure than any other second factor authentication. So there are several YubiKeys that work with the iPhone. That's the answer. And I tell you what, I will put in the show notes a link to the code that I use on a regular basis. And I'm not sure which Linuxes work and which don't. Some Linuxes, I think it's Manjaro, do not have a problem with YubiKeys. And then some Linuxes, there's an additional installation required. But I will right now put up on the show notes, I'll send it to James, the link so that you can add that if your Linux doesn't support it out of the box. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. It's a great question because I'm a fan and I always want any chance I can get to plug YubiKeys. But as I said, there are other hardware authentication keys that do the same thing. Nitro key, there's a whole bunch of them. YubiKey's just one of a whole category now. Carmen's on the line from Akron, Ohio. Hi, Carmen. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking the call.
My pleasure. What can I do for you?
Well, I waited a really long time and finally got to build a gaming PC.
Woo! Rock and roll.
Yeah, the last time I had my hands in a tower, solid-state drives weren't a thing. And the kid at Micro Center, when I asked him about optical drives, looked at me like I was insane.
You said it all you needed to say when you said Micro Center. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I went in there, and, I knew I wanted an SSD drive.
Yeah.
And this kid says, well, hey, these M2s are on sale, a terabyte for $100. I'm like, all right, great.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never heard of M2. He explained what it was, and so I took it. It goes around the motherboard.
Right.
But my question is I know that with solid-state media, the longevity is, contingent on your read and your writes, like how often you read or write from it.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, modern SSDs, and that M.2 is modern because it's a modern technology. It's an NVMe drive. This is not a problem. They last as long as any spinning drive, in most cases longer because there's no moving parts. All SSDs these days have controllers that do something called wear leveling. You're right, solid-state memory can get worn out, but what happens is they over-provision these drives. They give them, there's actually much more capacity than the listed capacity. And then they use software to do wear leveling to even out the reads and writes in such a way that you don't have to worry. You're not going to wear that drive out. And I use SSDs on everything, including the new gaming machine I just bought from Alienware, because it's so much faster, game load times, everything, boot times, so much better. And no, they last absolutely as long as a spinning hard drive. You don't have to worry about that. In fact, enjoy. What game do you're going to play on this?
Honestly, it's like some old stuff.
You got this superpower thing, and you're going to play old games? Come on.
Oh, cool. I can finally play Age of Empires on Ultra.
I love Age of Empires. That's one of the first games I'm going to install. Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for calling. Thanks to all of you for calling, for listening. We're going to take a little time out, and I'll be back next week. I know it's Easter weekend. I'm going to be here anyway. I'll bring the chocolate. You bring the questions. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a safe, great Geek Week. See you next week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.